I return to you this morning, fresh from a week-long study retreat in Palm Harbor, Florida with the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association Institute for Excellence in Ministry. Oh, we love long titles. There were more than 400 UU ministers gathered from across the United States and Canada to learn with and from one another, along with experts in many fields of ministry. Each day began and ended with about an hour and a half of worship. Yes, that's about 3 hours a day. Of rituals and readings and sermons and singing. And ministers made up the choir. There were 60, 70 voices or so. We sang everything from African American spirituals to modern gospel to Hebrew chants like the one we learned here today, and hymns we know and mostly love. It's a spiritual practice, y'all. The whole experience combines by design to bend your mind a little and melt your heart a lot. So you might think I'm tired, but I'm not. In fact, in spirit, I'm feeling more than a little hot, convicted in my heart of this treasure we've got, this faith, thanks to how hard our ancestors fought, so that we can behave as if we forgot that this is our turn, this is our shot to move the world forward just one tiny dot. No, the challenge is real, but it's not what we thought. It's not to change others' hearts. It's our own that we ought. So that when life is done, some might declare, look what their free faith begot. It was love that they taught. It was love that they brought. Consider with me this morning this passage from the Christian Scriptures, Gospel according to Matthew in chapter 7. Jesus has taken a place along the side of a mountain to talk with and teach those who followed and gathered with him. The seeker asks, how can we know the ones we are following are the right ones? And he answers, you will know them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorns or figs from thistles? In the same way, every good tree bears good fruit, but every bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cast into the fire. Thus, you will know them by their fruits. The writer of the parallel gospel, according to Luke, adds this to the telling. The good person out of the good treasure of the heart produces good. The evil person, evil. For it is out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. This morning we mark the third in a series of services we're calling Bending the Arc. From that marvelous quote from Theodore Parker and Martin Luther King Jr., declaring that the arc of the universe may be long, but it bends towards justice. We based this series in the quote from the Eastern philosopher Lao Tzu, advising us to watch our thoughts, our intentions, because they become our words because our thoughts because they become our words, yes. And then last week, Kathy Jens Rockow considered the second admonition to mark our words because they become deeds. And today we talk about how our deeds become habits and our habits destiny. So yes, this quote, some of you are thinking, I can hear you. This quote, we are using the one from Lao Tzu. The same tenets have been repeated by many different philosophers and poets throughout the ages, including our own beloved Ralph Waldo Emerson, who substituted the word character for destiny. Now, we can also consider that character is destiny. That's arguable, and we'll argue about it next week. Today, we consider the teaching some 2,000 years ago that articulated the ancient principles of acting for love. Jesus had learned it from his own rabbis. In the Jewish tradition, it's called a mitzvah. Mitzvah is a word that means good deed in Hebrew. in the Judaic tradition with every act of performing a mitzvah without thought for its significance or return. For each time we do that, we have fulfilled our religious obligation. Islam also teaches good deeds as sadaqah, or charity. The words of the Prophet, may peace be upon him, charity is due by all the people for every day upon which the sun rises. Eastern religions use the concept of kusala, or meritorious action, in light of the teachings of the Buddha. Just as treasures are uncovered from the earth, so virtue appears from good deeds. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your deeds. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. By their fruits, by their deeds, you will know them. The year, it's 1987. I'm nearly 8 months along with my first child and playing music on the club circuit in Los Angeles right up to the last minute. Just picture that for a minute. I had to hold the guitar like this to get to the microphone, to keep working. In those months preparing to be a mom, it occurred to me that after years and years and years of being in touring bands, and usually the only female on the band bus, and driving the highways of Los Angeles, I had developed language patterns, shall we say, not well suited to the ears of babies. And so I resolved that instead of my usual verbal call out to the erratum of LA drivers, I would retrain myself to exclaim, "Oh, neighbor!" It took a while. But don't you know, Alex was born, and sure enough, a year or so later, there we were on the 101 freeway, and somebody cut me off, and I hit the brakes, and he felt the jolt, and from the back seat, in the baby seat, I heard this little voice say, "Oh, neighbor!" It's harder to do that today. To watch my words, knowing full well they will become my deeds. They can't help it. And I'm more angry more often these days than I have been in decades. Now, anger sometimes can be harnessed to do good things, but not always. And when it doesn't have something righteous to do when it comes, it can fly out of my mouth in words like weapons. Not good deeds. Not blessings. And I want my deeds to be good. So how do I assure that my deeds might make this world more loving and less hateful and less angry? I have to go back through Lao Tzu's teaching. If I want my deeds to be right, then my words must be right. And if I want my words to be right, then my thoughts must be right. And my thoughts come out of my intentions. That's why we sing today. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. I'm not telling you my heart is there. I'm trying to sing my way there. What if we set our intentions from hearts in holy places to breathe love in and out? To fill ourselves with loving kindness. That we might be well. That you might be well. That the world might be whole. What if we imagined? What if we went way past imagining, in the words of John Lennon, that the world really could live as one? What if we believed that, like we say we do? What if we lived towards that, like we say we want to? What if we understood that everything we need to do that is already here? We're missing nothing. What if we truly knew in our deepest places that if we grasped the arc of the universe with the full weight of our love, it could not help but bend towards justice? What if we really lived that? Olam chesedi boneh, yadada yadada yadada. I will build the world from love. First, notice the word from. I will build the world from love, not with love. That implies a tool, love as a tool. And not for love, because that implies serving and offering outside of ourselves. I will build the world from love, from what I have already. Not waiting for the right ingredients. Not standing in front of the universe's refrigerator going, what can I make of this? You've already got it all. And we don't say, I'll try, or I wish, or maybe, or if only. We say, I will build this world from love. What if we set ourselves, our intentions, our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, no matter how small, to form a habit that builds this world from love all day, every day? What if we did it so often that it became a reflex? What if we did it so often that it became a habit? Not something we have to think and weigh and, well, what's the loving response? No, our first response, the one from love, without even having to think about it. That's called making a new habit from righteous deeds. And we'll be working on that next week. And it's not easy. But it becomes easier when we walk toward it with our whole healthy action. My heart, your heart, our hearts, building this world from love, that this world might know us by our fruits. So let us bend our minds a little and melt our hearts a lot, so that when we might think we're tired, we're not. Let's feel the Spirit move a little more hot, convicted in our hearts of this treasure we've got, this faith that we have for the way our ancestors fought. At this moment is our turn, our shot to move this universe forward. Just one little dot. The challenge is real. It's not what we thought. It's not to change others' hearts. It's mine that I ought. That when life is done, some might declare, look what river of grasses free faith begot. It was love that they taught. It was love that they brought. For out of the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. And by our fruits, they will know us. Let us build this world